Okay, welcome. You're here because you want to get smart, fast, on the topics making waves. No fluff, just what you need to know.
That's the idea. Straight to the point.
Exactly. And today, we're diving deep into something pretty big for fantasy fans, especially if you love Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time.
Oh, yeah. What's the news?
Well, it looks like a brand new, seriously ambitious, open-world RPG based on the series is officially in the works.
Wow. Okay, an open world Wheel of Time. That's massive.
It is, and this isn't just, a simple game announcement dropped out of nowhere. It feels like part of a much bigger plan for the whole Wheel of Time universe.
Interesting. These things often have layers. So, where did this news actually surface first? What's the source we're looking at?
Good question. So the initial buzz seems to come from a Variety report, which outlets like PC Gamer then picked up and ran with.
Variety. Okay.
Yeah.
Industry standard. And who's actually developing it? Is it a known studio?
It seems to be a newly established games division, actually. It's under a company called iWat Studios.
iWat Studios. That name rings a bell. Aren't they involved with the TV show?
Exactly. That's the key connection here. iWat Studios is one of the production companies behind the Amazon Wheel of Time series.
Ah, okay. So not just some random developer grabbing the license. They're already deep in that world, presumably.
Right. It suggests, maybe a closer connection, perhaps more consistency between the show and the game.
Could be. And it probably means they have a real handle on the source material already. What's their history with the IP, though? Is this recent?
Well, that's another interesting bit. iWat Studios, or rather their previous incarnation, Red Eagle Entertainment, actually got the rights way, way back.
Oh, really? How far back?
Back in 2004.
Wow, 20 years. So they've been sitting on this or involved with it for a long time.
Yeah, it's not some sudden jump onto the bandwagon. It suggests a long-term investment in the world.
Definitely hints at a deeper commitment, maybe a stronger vision for it. Okay, so let's talk about the game itself. What kind of game are we actually talking about?
They're calling it a AAA open-world RPG. So, for you listening, think big budget, high production values, massive explorable world.
The whole shebang, like Skyrim or The Witcher 3, but set in the Wheel of Time universe.
Precisely. Not a small contained story, and their stated ambition is, well, it's huge. They want to cover the entire world of the books.
The entire world, you mean like all the continents, all the different nations?
That seems to be the implication. I mean, think about how vast Jordan's world is. That's an incredible undertaking.
It really is. Just the technical challenge alone of building that kind of seamless world that's massive.
Yeah.
And then populating it meaningfully.
Yeah. Avoiding that huge but empty feeling, plus capturing all the politics of the different cultures.
Right. And there's a quote from the iWat CEO, Rick Selvage, that really underlines this. He said they want to include everything that's covered in the books as well as all the backstory elements of it.
Backstory elements, too. So not just the main storyline we follow with Rand and company.
Apparently not. Selvage also mentioned it won't be limited to like a specific area or even a specific time period or a particular age, as he put it.
Whoa. Okay. So potentially we could explore things before the books, like the Age of Legends.
That seems to be on the table. Imagine that. Experiencing the world before the breaking, or maybe other periods just hinted at in the lore.
That would be incredible. A totally fresh perspective, even for people who know the books inside out.
Absolutely transformative potential there.
Yeah.
But a project this big needs some serious leadership. Who's actually in charge of the development?
Good point. The report mentions a name, Craig Alexander. He's going to be heading it up.
Craig Alexander. Does he have a track record?
Yeah, he's formerly a VP at Warner Bros. Games, and his credits are pretty relevant, actually.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Things like The Lord of the Rings Online, Dungeons and Dragons Online, and also Batman, Arkham Underworld.
Okay, so he's got experience with big online worlds, fantasy IPs, established universes. That sounds promising.
Right. Especially the MMORPG experience. Managing those huge, persistent worlds seems like valuable expertise for this.
Definitely. He understands building large environments, handling lore, managing player communities, potentially very relevant skills.
So we've got iWat Studios with their deep roots in the IP via the show and that long history. We've got this incredibly ambitious scope, the whole world, maybe different ages.
Right.
And we've got an experienced leader like Craig Alexander. But you mentioned earlier, this isn't happening in a vacuum, right? There's a bigger picture.
Exactly. iWat has been pretty clear. This game is just one part of a wider multi-platform strategy. They want to expand the Wheel of Time across film, TV, and gaming.
A whole ecosystem.
Pretty much. It's not just about making one hit game, it's about building out the entire franchise across different media.
What are the potential upsides of that kind of connected approach?
Well, synergy, for one. Maybe things that happen in the game could be referenced in the show, or vice versa. Shared designs, maybe characters crossing over. It could make the whole universe feel more cohesive.
Yeah, I can see that. Deeper immersion for fans who engage with everything.
Mhm.
But downsides. Maybe
Yeah.
keeping everything consistent could be tricky.
Oh, absolutely. Managing continuity across different teams, different formats, different audience expectations, that's a huge challenge. You don't want the game contradicting the show or a film messing up established lore.
True. So what else is part of this multi-platform push? Did the report mention other specific projects?
It did. They're apparently working on an Age of Legends feature film, like a prequel movie set way before the main story of the Amazon series.
Ah, okay. So directly tying into that idea of exploring different eras we talked about for the game.
Exactly. See the potential connection. If the game lets you explore the Age of Legends and then there's a film about it, that builds interest across both.
Makes sense. Anything else on the film front?
Yeah, there's also mention of a 3D animated Wheel of Time film being developed. That's happening over at Squeeze Animation Studios.
An animated film, too. Interesting. So live-action TV, live-action prequel film, animated film, and this massive open-world game. They're really going all in.
It certainly looks like a major expansion effort for the franchise.
Okay, so this RPG is a big piece of that. But hang on, this isn't actually the first Wheel of Time game ever, is it? I feel like I remember something from way back.
You're absolutely right. Good memory. This isn't the first dip into the gaming pool for the series.
What was it? Wasn't it like a shooter?
Yeah, exactly. Back in 1999, Legend Entertainment put out a fantasy FPS based on Wheel of Time.
A first-person shooter. That feels like such a different approach compared to a huge open-world RPG.
Totally different genre focus. I guess open world tech and expectations have just exploded since '99. Plus, maybe an RPG just feels like a better fit for the sheer scale and depth of the source material now.
Probably true. How was that old game? Any good?
Well, the article writer mentioned recalling it as pretty decent, for its time. And interestingly, it actually got a remaster.
Oh, really? Who did that?
Night Dive Studios. They handled a remaster back in 2022.
Night Dive. Oh, they do good work with retro restorations, so it must have had something going for it.
Seems like it. And here's a fun little tidbit for you if you're curious or feeling nostalgic.
Yeah.
That original 1999 game, the remastered version, is apparently on sale right now on GOG.
How much?
Like $1.50.
Seriously, $1.50?
Wow. Okay, that's an impulse buy waiting to happen for anyone curious about the gaming history there.
Right. Can't really go wrong for that price. Little piece of Wheel of Time gaming history.
Definitely. Okay, so we know it's coming. We know the scale, the studio, the lead. The massive question everyone always has, when? Any hint of a release date?
Ah, the million-dollar question. Unfortunately, no specific release target has been announced just yet. It sounds like it's still pretty early days. That's usually the case with these big reveals. Did they give any sort of general time frame?
The studio sort of indicated they're expecting development to take roughly 3 years.
3 years.
Yep.
Okay. So we're likely looking at, what, 2027, 2028 maybe? We'll need some patience.
Patience is definitely required for games of this scale. These things take time to bake properly.
Absolutely don't want it rushed. And platforms. Where will we be able to play it when it does finally arrive?
The plan seems to be PC and consoles. Pretty standard for a big AAA release like this.
Makes sense. Reach the widest audience possible.
Okay, let's try and pull this all together then.
Yeah.
What are the key things you absolutely need to remember from this deep dive?
Okay, the essentials are a new, really ambitious AAA open-world RPG based on Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time is definitely happening.
Right.
It's being made by a new games division inside Iwat Studios. That's important because they're also involved with the Amazon TV show and have held the rights for ages.
Got it. Studio connection is key. The game's aiming to be huge, covering the whole world, maybe even different time periods, not just the main story.
Huge scope.
It's being led by Craig Alexander, who's got serious experience with big RPGs and online worlds from his time at Warner Bros.
Experienced leadership. Check.
And remember, this isn't just a standalone game. It's one part of a bigger strategy to expand Wheel of Time across TV, film, and gaming.
Multi-platform strategy.
And finally, while it's new and exciting, it does build on a history that includes that older 1999 FPS game, which you can even check out cheap right now.
Okay, that covers it nicely. The future of gaming in the third age, or maybe even other ages, looks pretty bright, potentially very exciting.
Seems that way.
So here's something to mull over as we wait for more news. With a world as incredibly detailed and complex as Wheel of Time, what parts of the books do you think will actually be the hardest to translate into a really compelling open world game? Making it fun to play while still feeling authentic.
That's a tough one. Maybe the intricacies of the one power system, or the sheer number of distinct cultures.
Could be. And flipping that, what aspect are you personally most excited to potentially see or explore interactively in Ranwin? Lots to think about there. Definitely something to keep an eye on.